Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again. And I'm sorry I'm late. I'm Nostalgia Critic. Hey, I'm gonna I'll make it up to you guys right now. So here we are with the Great Mouse Detective, and boy, I was kind of excited when I heard that he did this movie already. It's actually pretty damn cool. I always loved this movie. I never got to watch it enough until I finally got it on video when I was like a little bit older, and I watched it early. It was I don't know why. It just I I think this is what the first detective story I had ever seen, and it really stuck with me. Especially the opening. That opening is all types of messed up. I don't understand how they made it so scary, but they did. But yeah, it's actually been a really long time since I've seen the movie because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a good movie, but I don't know, it's not a popular Disney movie for like no reason. It really should be a Disney classic, but apparently it's not in that category. I remember there was a freaking. How many of y'all had the Disney collection, all the videos like just stacked of like Disney classics and stuff like that? Was I the only one who did that? I don't know. But anyway, um, let's just get into the episode. So please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. Now let's do this thing, yo.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remembered, so you don't have to. Here's a fun fact. This is one of the earliest movies I saw in the theater.
You've said that before too. You said that about Oliver and Company. So what was it? Was this the first one that you saw, or was Oliver and Company your first movie, or Land Before Time? Whatever. I don't know. It was one of those.
Not that it was the absolute first, I saw a couple before this, but two of my earliest and favorite movie-going experiences are seeing this and An American Tail in 1986. They were the perfect big screen.
I haven't done that yet, or Fivefold Goes West. We gotta watch that. Let me know if you want me to do it in the comments, since we got a mouse theme going on.
Movies to introduce to a kid because they were small characters living in a big world, allowing you to embrace on the big screen a gigantic universe you recognize but saw from a different point of view. Sometimes it was grand and wonderful, other times pretty damn freaky.
You know how my started with this? How I started with this? There used to be those videos that they would send in. They would be like sing-alongs, Disney sing-alongs. They would just send in the tapes just with the songs of them, and that's how I saw some of these old movies before I was able to get them on video. And the sing-along was Radigan, Radigan. So yeah, it's a good song. So
it was so much of what I wanted a movie experience to be like, and it helped that it had decent characters and story too. Based on the book series Basil of Baker Street,
really?
It stars a rodent version of Sherlock Holmes because the 80s were really trying to make Holmes a thing again, and was a modest success, but doesn't get talked about as much in terms of Disney animated films, and that's kind of a shame. It has what might be Disney's best pairing of a hero and villain, two energetic and egocentric geniuses who obsess over destroying the other. Not that there haven't been better Disney heroes or Disney villains, but in terms of equally matched arch nemeses like two sides of the same coin, I really can't think of a duo in this animated library better matched than them. It's a simple yet stylized, intellectual yet action-packed, cute yet dark, tiny yet grand cinematic adventure. And we're gonna look it over here today. Over 35 years later, let's take a look at the history of Darkwing's table statue. This is The Great Mouse Detective.
Darkwing Duck. I only watched maybe a few episodes of that show. Like, seriously. I'm not opposed to watching it on here.
80s Disney, where if you said, "That's too dark," your folks said, "That's the world!" We open in London during the late 1800s, where a toy maker named Flaversham, voiced by Alan Young, gives his daughter Olivia a present.
Oh, this thing was so weird, but
You made this just for me?
Wow, you created Rodent Amica just because I turned 5? Yeah, Flaversham is pretty much Skynet producing Barbies, so no surprise, others want his talents for evil means.
Stay in here and don't come out.
80s Disney, you little shits. Yeah, no, PG for rude humor here. This is 80s G and all its glory.
Daddy! Daddy!
So after 4-year-old me was traumatized, we cut to a mouse named Dawson,
Really, you should have said, "Mommy, that was scary as fuck."
who just retired from the Queen's Regiment.
I had just arrived in London after lengthy service in Afghanistan.
That hits different!
Oh,
That's Val Benton voicing him, by the way. And if you're thinking, man, does he sound like the Sultan from Aladdin,
It is.
Disney thought the same thing and had him replace Douglas Seal as the Sultan in future Aladdin projects.
yeah.
Which,
See, I got you there. He is the Sultan, but he's the Sultan in Jafar. It's weird. And I'm like, could you really not get the guy from Ernest Saves Christmas again?
which is funny for such a thin, lanky guy. He played short, pudgy characters quite often.
Oh my, are you all right, my dear?
He stumbles across Olivia, who says she's searching for the world-renowned detective Basil to help her find her kidnapped father.
I'm sorry to go off on this again, but I swear, when I heard that, I was so pissed when Jafar, like the Sultan's voice changed. I didn't like his voice. It's not the same guy. The guy was such a much better. He's not a better actor, but he had a much better presence. You know, seemed kind, but could get mad. Obviously, it's just.
We'll find this Basil chap together.
Perhaps we'll find a sunny day in this film, too. Actually, wait, no, there are no day shots in this entire movie at all. God, 80s Disney was the best! They find Baker Street and wait for Basil's arrival as...
I shall have him!
we might have a Peter Sellers murder by death situation.
Who are you? Basil of Baker Street, my good fellow.
Yes, they were gonna go with the glasses with the slanty eyes in them, but Disney said, absolutely not. We don't want him to be confused for a cat. Basil is voiced by Barry Ingham, and he brings an infectious amount of eccentric energy and charm to this character that could easily become annoying, but instantly pulls you into the excitement of whatever he's excited about.
How the deuce did you know I was a doctor? You've sewn your torn cuff together with a Lambert stitch, which...
Did he just say how the deuce? Isn't I was always like if I ever said that around my parents, they'd be like, "What? What did you say?"
Ryan, what the deuce? Deuce like poo. Yes, it's deuce like poo.
Exactly.
Of course, only a surgeon uses.
It's also great to see a Disney lead that's full of himself, overly dramatic, and doesn't really change that much by the end.
My daddy's gone, and I'm all alone.
This is a most inopportune time.
Most Disney leads would have to confront these flaws, or they'd have them be the comic relief. But it's part of what makes him so fun and memorable. We recognize these flaws in ourselves at times, and like that there's a character that not only learned to live with them, but often uses it to his advantage, helping drive himself closer to his goal of catching his nemesis.
The horror of my every waking moment, Professor Ratigan!
He's so evil, his teeth show whenever his name is mentioned! This, of course, leads to our introduction.
Yes, we know that little animation era. It's 2 shots, and just because it's closer, the other picture looked better. And by the way, if y'all have never seen Prince and Price, get ready.
Of Ratigan, voiced by Vincent Price, and in my opinion, this is one of the most inseparable animated performances I've ever seen.
Oh, by the way, I'm taking the liberty of having your daughter brought here.
Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of great actors that match great animation, and there's a lot to be praised about that. But if you were asked to, you can close your eyes and imagine these actors talking in a recording booth. It's not that big a stretch. Ratigan's gestures match so well with Price's voice, my mind cannot split the two.
I would spend many a sleepless night if anything unfortunate were to befall her.
This animation breathes this voice.
Alright.
It'd be like hearing the music of Sorcerer's Apprentice without thinking of Mickey Mouse. It's damn near impossible it matches so perfectly.
Wow.
Let me show you how it works. What? Basil on the case! I haven't had a moment's peace of mind. Though frankly, I expected you 15 minutes earlier.
The only other anime characters I can think of that work this seamlessly are Robin Williams as the genie and James Woods as Hades.
Okay.
And sure enough, all these actors the animators watched and worked in their movements, slithering into every dragged out whisper and chomping into every emphasized roar.
Oh, how sweet. It must be ready tonight.
I can hear these voices without connecting them to these characters, but I can't see these characters without connecting them to these voices.
Right.
There's plenty of animated characters that feel alive to me, but these guys just exist on a whole other plane.
Honestly, I think Disney animated Ariel basically also kind of matches Jodie Benson. I've met her in person. She's actually really, she's nice. Actually, you know, now that I think about it, she actually more resembles the actress that brought her to life. But at the same time, too, she's a very nice woman. You know. Yeah.
And aren't you proud to be a part of it?
On that note, Ratigan is basically the same as Basil, egocentric, brilliant, and overly dramatic. He just also happens to be on the side of evil, using the toy maker for an evil plan.
We are about to embark on the most odious, diabolical scheme of my illustrious career.
Oh, so Bill, glad to see you finally landed. Seeing how this is one of the few Disney musicals that only has one impromptu musical moment, I'm glad it's a villain song.
Even meaner, you made it. Worse than the widows and orphans you drowned.
Confirmed widows and orphans were drowned in this G-rated universe. And seeing the competition that came out that same year, you can guess who one of them was.
Your tops and that's
Sir Ratigan's the world's greatest rat.
I love that being called a rat in this crime world isn't insulting because someone's a snitch, but because someone's literally a rat.
Yeah, that's right, a mouse.
Oh my God. See, it was this and him turning wild that scared. This is what scared the crap out of me. Yeah, that opening was scary, but this made me so damn nervous.
I like his design is more rat-like too compared to all the other mice, and again, kind of an interesting parallel to the competition that also had a villain with rat disguises. Ratigan tosses the drunk naysayer to his pet cat, Felicia.
You're the tops, and that's that.
I couldn't help it. I had to rhyme something with the word that, and it's already in your name. What would you do? Basil decides to take the case once he finds it, well, serves him, as he questions the motives of his fearful foe.
Question is, what would he want with a toy maker?
I mean, what kind of toys does he make exactly?
Oh, I love it when I'm nasty.
His henchman, or henchbat named Fidget, is seen outside the house, so Basil chases after him.
Not for long, Miss Flamhammer.
Flaversham.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's a running joke about Basil mispronouncing the last name Flaversham.
Flamhammer.
Flaversham.
Whatever. Miss Flanchester.
Flaversham.
Whatever.
Miss Flangerhanger.
Whatever.
Which I guess is cute, except for the fact that he clearly pronounces it correctly later.
Dawson. Flaversham.
So he's just dicking around with them most of the time, I guess. Actually, who am I kidding? I can see him doing that.
Yeah, actually.
Okay, why do Disney houses always have such classy mouse holes?
Seriously.
There's a good deal of German music on the program.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes.
It is introspective, and I want to introspect.
Fun fact, that actually is Basil Rathbone, arguably the most famous Sherlock Holmes, playing Sherlock Holmes. But I am disappointed they didn't get the original.
I want to introspect.
Fun fact, that actually is Basil Rathbone, arguably the most famous Sherlock Holmes, playing Sherlock Holmes. But I am disappointed they didn't get the original actor who played Toby. He delivered that line like a rover. Toby follows the scent of Fidget to a toy shop.
You be good now. We're going to find my father.
Yeah, Olivia's always one yippee away from being obnoxious, but they know when to scale the cute stuff back and give it more of a bite. Even the toy shop is kind of unsettling. Like this toy reminds me they remade Dumbo. And don't you know the new Disney rules? There should be like 11 Disney cameos in this scene, not just one. Fidget kidnaps Olivia. Yeah, for kids in the 80s, quicksand and bags became like our biggest fears. And he manages to escape with her.
Now she's been spirited away by that maniacal little monster.
Basil screams at Dawson for not watching her closely, causing him to feel awful.
It's not entirely hopeless. We'll get her back.
Little character moments like this do add a lot of heart and urgency. It shows there is a part of Basil that can get out of his own head and legit cares, separating him from his criminal counterpart.
Your charming daughter.
Olivia! One of my favorite theater memories is how hard everybody laughed at this one line.
Oh, my foot, my only foot.
I already have a hard enough time finding Halloween costumes every year. Basil looks over the note that Fidget left behind and hopes to gather some clues from it.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
This is a minor thing, but I really love that Basil's a cartoon character that mumbles to himself.
Good, good, good. Yeah, no, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. What have I done? Come here. What's that?
Not that he's the first or anything, but it wasn't something you saw often. It's a little touch that makes him feel a bit more real.
This reaction could only have been triggered by the paper's extreme saturation with distillation of sodium chloride.
He deduces it came from a pub by the riverfront, so they disguise themselves and sneak into a place called the Rat Trap. Isn't that a great name? I'm always a sucker for smoky places like this where they play poker, throw punches, and toss shit at the stage. Also, I guess mer-mice are a thing in this world?
I know, I've always seen that. Like, I have the weirdest history with these kinds of places. Like, first it was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, then The Mask, then this movie I saw, and then it's all ended off with All Dogs Go to Heaven 2.
Baby, can we act?
Oh, see, it's awkward.
That must have been a fun note for the background artist to read. Yeah, hi, I just want to make sure. On page 5, you said draw a... I didn't misread that. Okay, we put a naked woman in Rescuers. I'm used to these mouse movies being On that note, I know a % of you watch this scene asking, do I like mice now?
Hey, fellas, I'll take all my blues.
Disney actually had a hard time, pun totally intended, getting this past censors because it was deemed too risque for a G film. Again, all the smoking, drinking, on-screen and off-screen deaths were fine, but this was pushing the limit.
Seriously.
They eventually convinced them by saying they're not human, they're mice, so nothing questionable is going on. I think a lot of questioning was going on with people after watching this scene.
Your baby's gonna come through.
I know what mouse hole I wouldn't mind getting stuck in. Oh, come on, baby, don't be like that! How can someone so small slap that hard?
To be fair, it's not that. It's just the fact that you got slapped by something so small. It's just that's the extra pain you got there.
They locate Fidget just as a brawl breaks out, and they follow him to Ratigan's hideout. Ratigan has been expecting him, though, and I just love how childish and petty he shows him up here. I half expected a picture of his ass mooning them to drop down as well. Which, knowing the internet... Yeah, you can Google that, of course you can. They're tied to a mousetrap, and Ratigan confesses he couldn't decide one execution to give them, so he decides on all of them. God, I love this villain.
First, a sprightly tune I've recorded especially for you.
I know there's technically only one song that's off the cuff in this, and the others are ones that are planned out, like it doesn't need to be a musical in order for them to exist. With that said, even the ones that could have just been phoned in are real toe tappers.
Goodbye, so soon, and isn't this a crime?
Legendary composer Henry Mancini did all the music for this. And he is so crazy talented, you'll almost forget that this also has his name on it. Ratigan makes his way to Mouse Buckingham Palace. Okay, how do some of these mice civilizations work? Well, pretty advanced, actually, as the toy maker creates a robot of the Queen to appoint Ratigan as the new royal council.
What's the new thing that the royal family actually protects these mice because the justice of the royal is there? Stupid. They always have to have a wedding for no reason. Why do they exist?
My new royal consort Ratigan!
Has the Queen's new motor oil perfume gone to her head? Basil feels defeated, but Dawson convinces him he can still save the day. Again, I like it's less about him and his friends getting killed and more about somebody being smarter than him.
Ratigan's proved he's more clever than I. He would never have walked into such an obvious trap.
Unless it was set in a leather bar or something. Basil finally gets an idea, because I guess every last gangster was needed to take out the guards. I mean, I don't know, they look pretty easy to take out to me. Nobody is there to stop him. As expected, this escape is pretty inventive. I too don't know how I missed the Mythbusters where they prove that as fact.
That's so
They get to the palace and stop the queen from getting eaten by Felicia. Aha, so Biden recently saying God save the queen still makes no sense. They show the robot is a phony and rush Radigan. I kind of love this one goon who's like, well, she's got an umbrella, I got a gun. I lose. Radigan escapes though with Olivia as a hostage.
Stay where you are, or the girl dies. Hurry, Dawson.
I don't care if she dies. Disney produces kids like a childhood trauma factory.
Gather up those balloons.
They follow Radigan's blimp with their own balloons. Again, I love how legit inventive this movie is. But Basil and Radigan smash into Big Ben. I know I've mentioned this before, but this is the first time an animated film has ever used CGI. And it looks pretty seamless, making for an appropriately large and rather epic climax. You really feel the size and weight of these gears, and as Basil continues to use his smarts to get out of trouble, Radigan loses his patience and reveals himself for the monster he really is. This whole scene is just beautifully animated, edited with high adrenaline, and again, pretty intense for a G-rated flick. Jesus! Thank God those women were mice, or this would have been too much for kids. This, though, Frank, can you make it sound more like he's gargling blood every time he's hit? We're 80s Disney, we can't leave the kids unscarred. Seriously, this is right up there with some of the best action sequences in any animated Disney film. It's short, but it's effectively put together.
The game's not over yet.
And I'm mad at you. You didn't include Fox and the Hound right there. I know you're like, you haven't seen the truth, because that movie is awesome. But that end fight scene is one of my favorite animated fight scenes in any Disney movie. It really is. I think it might even be better than the Lion King's climax. Yeah, I went there.
Radigan falls to his death and takes Basil with him, resulting in a pretty decent fake-out. It's actually hard to figure out how he would survive that. But again, because he kept his cool, he figured an inventive way out.
Good fellow! Oh, jolly good! Ah!
Dawson, don't bring the balloons too close to my propeller! Ah! No, of course they get back safe, and Basil says goodbye to his friend and client, despite never getting her name right.
I'll never forget you.
Nor are you, Miss...
80s Disney, man.
Oh my, we're late to catch our train. Come along, Olivia.
Let's go before they realize they never made a Scrooge McDuck joke.
Is this the home of the famous Basil of Baker Street?
Another client enters the home just as Basil announces Dawson is his new partner.
Isn't that right, Doctor?
Yes, by all means.
Professional or romantic? Yes. And that was The Great Mouse Detective. Okay, it's no Beauty and the Beast, but it's still pretty fun and entertaining.
It is.
A lot of that is centered around the hero, the villain, and the animation that brings them to life. Not to say the other elements of the film are...
I love how he has a card to Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Why? It's because they both take place in England. He's a genius.
bad by any means, but they're a bit more what you'd expect with an animated kids film at the time. These two characters and their joy/obsession with their work and with each other is really what helps it stand out. The slight edge it has with the sometimes mature imagery that never goes quite too far also adds a welcomed harshness and excitement. It's just good fun with a smart hero, a smart villain, and a lot of inventive ingenuity. I hear more and more it's growing a bit of a fan base, and I'm glad to see that. Because if you've checked it out, you know that'd only be elementary. I'm a nostalgia critic, I remember it so you don't have.
Bye. So soon. Oh, Basil, I would love to be there to kill you, but I must be off to take over the country. See you soon, Basil. Yeah, that's my Vincent Price impression. But yeah, I'll always love this movie. Again, that's a movie. Hey, listen, my nephew could watch this with me on here. Probably could do that movie. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to do it. Do it in the comments below. But yeah, what did you guys think of the movie? What's your history with this movie? I feel like, at least for the 80s, they have a little bit more. It has a little bit of weight to it. I feel like this movie, a lot more people have seen this than they believe. I feel like a lot more people have seen this movie and remember it. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, and please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And I'll see you on the next video.